Bayonetta is no stranger to the channel, but I'm not talking about Bayonetta right now. Have you ever wondered who that demon was that Bayonetta uses in her summons all the time? The demon that Bayonetta is really cool with and made a pact with and they got like a friendly relationship with and stuff. When you see occasions like this fist comes through, this is that same demon known as Madama Butterfly. She's no stranger to the channel because I brought her up in my Bayonetta videos, and she's part of the reason why Bayonetta is strong because of her pact. With her pact, she gives Bayonetta great power and stuff like that. Even when you look at Bayonetta's shadow, you kind of see her shadow. Sometimes Bayonetta doesn't summon her whole body. Sometimes she opens a little portal, so Madama uses her leg instead of coming all the way through the portal. These are called wicked weaves, but it's also Madama Butterfly helping out Bayonetta. In the newer game, she can even fuse with Bayonetta, combine their powers with Bayonetta and her put together to do some Demon Masquerade fusion technique type stuff. Even if the Madama Butterflies are from two different universes, I'm going to be going over both of them in this video anyway, and they have a lot of similarities anyway. A main difference between the two, like this one, for example, she has her base form, and then thanks to Bayonetta doing some crazy super ritual, she goes from looking like this to looking like this and becoming awakened and being as big as mountains based on her weight, even weighing up to billions of tons. She's so big that Bayonetta is standing right here and you can't see her from this angle. But how strong is Madama Butterfly in general, no matter which one we're talking about? Considering how big her threats are in the universe, she has to be relevant or Bayonetta would never use her as a summon. And the interesting lore about Madama Butterfly is that apparently she wasn't always a demon. She's a demon taking form of a woman who left the world under unfortunate circumstances, only to be reincarnated in hell. This is the very reason why I won't be distinguishing between the two versions, because when you look at their bios in both different games, even though they look different, they have similar origins regardless of what universe they're in. If I'm being honest, I think she has to be Bayonetta's most used summon, right beside her Godzilla type summon like Gamora. She's one of those characters where it seems like she has some type of knowledge when it comes to fighting, because you can see her in like literal stances. But when it comes to her might, we know she's as strong as previous Bayonetta summons, or one could argue stronger, because sometimes Bayonetta's own summons go out of control, and guess who she summons to help her in this occasion? For example, against Gamora, one of her out of control summons, you see Madama is the one that's actually punching this entity with a legit headbutt. This is important because her other summons are no slouches and she can overpower their mouth strength and even punch them with a fist like that. Her power doesn't stop there though. Bayonetta is a being that fights a lot of different angels, and since Madama Butterfly is literally an infernal demon, she's a natural enemy of them, and she has been shown overpowering certain angels. Yeah, as you can see, her just abusing this angel with his literal own body and even jamming him through an entire building with the raw force of her power, just like that. Angel-like beings like this can make a tornado that can swallow an entire country. You guessed it, we've literally seen Madama Butterfly literally boxes it up in a contest of raw power with entities just like this. I mean, look how big this entity is, for example. Might I add that it seemed like a mismatch between these two when these two were fighting like this as well. Face is all busted up and Madama doesn't look injured, just completely overpowering him. Yeah. And angels like this just get straight up bullied by Madama's fist. Angels like this, for example, it's almost to the point where they beat them down with pizzazz or just like style. Like you can see her stomping the living snot out of this one, for example. Like, bruh, straight abusing them. Kicking through all this crap with her kicking power. You know she's strong because when other infernal demons try to get tough with Bayonetta, guess who's there to bail her out? Madama Butterfly is here to pull their eye open and give them a handling or who they talking to. Like, you can't forget that. Like when demons try to suck Bayonetta in, the Madama Butterfly summon is the one that stops her from getting sucked in with her strength. It was even so bad to the point where I almost felt bad. Like, this looks like this just freaking hurts. Like, let's be real. This looks like this hurts. Yeah, I know this demon doesn't need this eyeball, but this just looks brutal looking at this. This is fun, and I know this is probably a game mechanic, but I like bringing up these numbers. If this number is to be taken seriously, since a gigaton is an actual unit of measurement, don't forget that 1 gigaton by itself is 1,000 megatons. That would be like saying she can punch 20 times harder than the bomb that blew up over Hiroshima, the nuclear bomb. That would be like saying she can punch with a teraton of force. That would be like saying she can punch apart islands or small countries, one could say. And this is, I know this is just the gigaton thing number popping up, but it's kind of backed up in this lore too. This entity, for example, literally pulled a meteor, this God of God level character, this big old meteor that's falling. There's some folks that calculated this to be able to level an entire country, and you guessed it, Madama Butterfly is the one to use her striking power. You see the Gigaton bullcrap right there, so it kind of makes sense. She shattered it despite this meteor being way bigger than her to the point where it wasn't even a threat to the planet or country no more. So after seeing that, doesn't the whole thing about her striking power being able to punch apart cities or small countries make a lot more sense after seeing that meteor type feat? Does that at least help your doubts a little bit? I mean, we actually see an on-screen visual cutscene cinematic of her busting a literal meteor. Not to mention there's literal demons that I would bet my money on Madama Butterfly being stronger than stated they can pulverize mountains. This version of Madama Butterfly can kick beings that big and make them move. Not to mention she has a base form that looks like this. Not counting her Queen Butterfly giant mountain state, she has a normal rage form just like this, which on its own is scary looking. Entities like this, for example, for reference, can just blast cities and have like a nut and like straight through the middle like it's literal butter. And that's the thing that Madama Butterfly kicked and moved. And that's the type of stuff they gotta deal with. She likes opening up big eyeballs, doesn't she? You just don't want to make this version of Madama Butterfly mad, or she would just toss you like a rag doll very far, showing that's not her limit if you can throw somebody that far. When Bayonetta was fighting a God of God type character like Aesir, for example, and he threw this building type structure at Bayonetta, guess who Bayonetta used to break this junk apart with straight punches? And there they go with the gigatons down there. That's Madama the Punch, the Prophet, an avatar of the god Aesir. Not to mention when we're talking about the battle with another demon in Inferno, this demon and Madama seem to have some type of rivalry, one could say, messing up her throne room and everything. A solo game about Madama Butterfly would be kind of dope, I'm not gonna lie. There's clearly some bad blood down here in this underworld because this one demon was beefing with Madama. Keep in mind that this demon in particular was powered up more than ever because she was actually getting power from John, another Bayonetta level being, quenching her. And Madama is the one, yes, just for visual confirmation that John is getting her soul sucked and replenishing this demon with her power or soul or whatever. This demon was actually feeling herself. This demon actually said she was feeling so powerful just from John's soul that she would become powerful enough to be the queen of this realm. Bruh, do you know how crazy of a statement this is? The queen of this infernal realm, this infinite sized dimension? That's Queen Sheba we're talking about, guys. The literal strongest of the entire infernal dimension. This is a being we don't see often and got summoned when John and Bayonetta worked together. The queen of the inferno, guys. A being to where when she does her move, instead of having megaton next to her numbers, it actually has a random number infinite, like the infinite or whatever. Like, yeah, limited succeeded. Like, we know for a fact this being is able to punch beings across the entire solar system. But take that with a grain of salt because she could have just been feeling herself. Maybe she wasn't actually Queen Sheba level, who knows? But regardless, she was getting powered up more than ever before from another Bayonetta level being. And apparently Madama has other abilities like literally being able to grab souls, apparently. Well, Bayonetta can technically do that too because she did it at the beginning of the game. But yeah, she pulled the soul out. Angels like this, for example, we've seen them try to punch and overpower Madamas, but that just doesn't go well. And despite these angels looking this big compared to Bayonetta and her mom, they can hit that hard and fast to kick and they go flying. You remember this time when Bayonetta fought that Kraken? Guess who was a helpful aid? And knocking it back, might I mention? Well, one could say this Kraken-like demon-looking thing's not actually a Kraken. It's an infernal demon that looks like a Kraken. The writers knew what they was doing, making mythological-looking creatures out of infernal demons, you know. Even out of her element underwater, she's able to show her might against this big entity, to use her strength to force it open. It's just that obvious. And this werebeast fairy type of thing, she kind of helped pin this entity down with her giant foot. And when we're talking about her Super Saiyan form, where she becomes literal mountain size to the point where you can't even see Bayonetta on her no more. That's how big she is. She even dwarfed the enemy that was way bigger than a normal Madama Butterfly at the time. Like, you have to zoom in this much. This form was so busted and powerful, we never really seen this form of Madama Butterfly really struggle. If we already know normal Madama Butterfly can shatter mountains and stuff of that such, it makes sense that her finger flicks is this powerful to be able to fling a being through several mountains and then keep on going. Her striking power is monumental. When they was fighting this being known as Singularity, for example, Queen Madama can literally do her own Kamehameha blast that was a helpful asset in a beam struggle against this being known as Singularity that was literally stated to get the energy from the destruction of other universes. And that was, yeah. This being right here is what she just blasted all the way into space. And this being is a result, the sum of energy absorbed from the systematic destruction of parallel worlds within the multiverse to increase his attack power to the limit. It's confirmed to build level cities with ease, duh, if he got the power from different universes. There was a lot of universes. She basically has blast power that can overpower beings that have multiple universes of energy within them, increasing his attack power. If you still have your doubts about Madama's power, even in her base form, she's able to punch up a being known as Singularity, that a being that was absorbing the energy of universes and controlling it, becoming one with the universe itself. She can straight up damage a being like this with straight punches. Like, it's just straightforward. So if she can harm cosmic beings in this state, imagine what this form of her can do, her true awakened state can do. A being that eventually became the universe itself. And Madama Butterfly, without even needing this form necessarily, no matter which form we're talking about, whether if we're talking about fused or unfused, with Bayonetta, these beings can just in general damage these beings with strikes and stuff. And even damage the giant corpse working together with John of Singularity. And no, it does not matter which version of Madama we're talking about. They're all just ridiculously strong. Because even when Singularity was in his greatest form, even though it took a massive amounts of help from a lot of different characters in this universe, or multiverse, different Bayonettas and all that had to help, it was clearly shown on screen that every version of Madama's punches can actually damage this being known as Singularity, a being that became one with the multiverse or universe. All the Madamas can damage this being with their punching. Yeah, in their base states, by the way. I said it before, I'll say it again. If base form level Madama Butterfly can damage beings like this a little bit, imagine what her awakened state like this can do. Because whatever her base form can do, this form of her can do better in every aspect of strength, raw blast power, etc. But what do you guys think? Do you think she's ridiculously strong? What other surprises do you think the future games will hold for Madama Butterfly? Do you think we're going to get some lore for her or her origin story maybe? We're not about to just brush over that Madama Butterfly can punch and damage beings that has absorbed thousands of universes and became one with all those different universes. And Madama in her base state can still damage beings that have become one with the multiverse or universe. Are you serious? No wonder Madama Butterfly is her go-to summon, but what do you guys think? I want to hear you guys' thoughts. What do you think her blast power is? Do you think she's the most interesting summon, or do you have a favorite summon for Bayonetta that you like better than Madama Butterfly? I like this really shocking surprise in Bayonetta 3 about her having an awakened state. I want to see more of it though, or maybe be able to play with this actual awakened state. But before I get going, thanks for the donations, everybody. Respect Madama Butterfly. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.